Hello to Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. And if you're joining us anywhere on earth other than twitch.tv/deepmindfulness, well, god damn it, you're in the wrong place again. Lovely, as always, to be here with you. Thank you so much for joining. It is such a delight to be here. Folks, you know my big fat question for you. I ask the same question every day when I wake up. This is what I ask my wife. Where are we? Where are you? Where are you at right now? Yeah, so where are you at, folks? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how things are going. What's the news? What is the update? I want to know. Good morning, Jean from Brooklyn. Lovely to have you here, as always. I'm very excited to be here. Raquel and I had a lovely little trip yesterday. We went on a little day trip. Quite a bit of fun with the little doggy. And yeah, so I'm wondering how... my question is double. A, where are you right now? Excuse me. But also B, did you do or are you planning to do anything for the holiday? Hey, Nick coming in from Sweden. Good to see you here, Nick. As always, nice to see you. Yeah, what was that? What was that? What was that like? What did you do? Did you tour around at all? What on earth happened? And I'm trying to shrink my screen a little bit. Shrink that screen. There we go. A little shrunken screen. Okay, so the point of it all is, though, that I'm curious. Yeah, what did folks do for the holiday, or are you doing something for? Oh wait, P.S. I'm assuming everyone has American holidays. That's a standard, and everyone does in America, so I have to assume that everyone does elsewhere. So it's an American holiday. Fine, but I think we all agree that America's the best at everything, without question. So, therefore, you should all have the same holidays. Just kidding. Jean says, I went upstate for the weekend, right near the Mass border. Oh, lovely. We were actually thinking about going to Massachusetts for the break. We were going to go to Horseneck Beach was our plan, but then we did not do that. Tomlin, excellent. Thanks for joining. Lovely to see you here. So, folks, we're going to be meditating today, and we're going to be... It's a very lengthy title today. When I put it in, I was like, that is a lot on lips. Oh my God, I misspelled mindful. That's humorous. Mindful Monday. Okay. I'm pretty sure I can still change the name of the stream while the stream is happening. Pretty sure. Okay, so we're going to be exploring multiple self and the part that feels anxious. Ambient anxiety. Okay, here we go. Video producer. Sorry, I'm just going to go figure out what's a stream manager. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to see if I can. If not, there's just a misspelling, and that's just the shape of the world. Oh, here we go. Got him. Excellent. So, folks, I'm very glad that you're here. If you have not let me know already, where the heck are you? I'm very curious to hear where you are and what you did this weekend. This fun, delightful time that we had ourselves going here. And yeah, what's going on? What is the story? Okay, so looks like all of my chat was deleted as I switched channels here. Rory says, from Kingston, Ontario, we have a Labor Day in Canada. Went canoeing yesterday. Lovely. Canoeing sounds lovely. It's funny because Raquel is not, Raquel's from the city. So when we go visit nature, it's like we'll go off a trail where there's a bunch of people and maps and stuff, and we'll go 100 yards into the woods, and it'll be pretty quiet and, a trail and a nice view. And she's like, this is amazing. This is incredible. It's like a totally transformational experience. And for me, it's like, I'm like, yeah, it's great. As long as she's happy, I'm happy. And it's just funny because when you say like going canoeing, it's like, my guess is that you're entering a level of nature that is more removed in a certain sense than what we were doing. But it was still lovely, and I sort of crave for contact with nature that is like elongated, and you really have less there's less of a sense of humans around other people. Nick says, "Gotta love those city peeps." Yeah, exactly. It's very sweet. It's very sweet when we drive by and there's like I remember we were driving once and there was, I don't know if you have these in whatever country folks are in right now, but they'll have a mound of garbage, and the mound of garbage will be covered with like sod, like there'll be growing grass on the side of it that's facing the highway. It'll just be like one of those mounds that sort of goes up. It's like a landfill thing. We're just driving on the highway and they see this. She's like, "Oh my God, look at that mountain." And I was like, "That's so sweet, honey. That's not a mountain. That's just at best, that would be a hill, but it's just a pile of garbage." So there it is. So folks, excited about the meditation today. And if anyone has any questions or difficulties that are coming up in their practice, let me know now, and we can bring those up in the practice itself. We're going to practice for 25 minutes. If you've never meditated before, let us know. It's very important that I know this, because otherwise it will be a utter unmitigated disaster for you. No, just kidding. It will be more challenging if you don't let me know that you are new. Plus, we have a special way of welcoming folks who are new. Okay. Excellent. So finding a nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the sit. I'm going to encourage you to be entirely still physically. Two exceptions. One is if you don't feel like it. No. If you just don't feel like it, then just stay still. Two exceptions are, one is the urge to move the body, the itch, whatever, is so intense that you need to, in order to if you want to continue the meditation, you're going to need to make some kind of adjustment. In that case, just do so slowly, mindfully, take your time, and then move back into a position of stillness. The other exception is if overwhelm starts to arise, then you're always welcome to, and actually it's better that you would adjust and maybe move the body a little bit, open the eyes, even stop meditating if you feel like overwhelm is arising. It's very important to be attuned to that, because often the system feels like it needs to yell at you with overwhelm, because it feels like you're not listening to its more subtle signals. So we need to get good at listening to the subtle signals so that overwhelm does not arise. In fact, will folks remind me of that? This is something I have to tell Raquel. Subtle signals. Subtle signals of overwhelm. Raquel's gone right now. She'll be back in like 30 minutes or after the meditation. Please, someone remind me of this. I wish I had a different note. I'm going to send Raquel an email. This is a silly system. I'm like, someone else remind me of the thing. Okay. I just have to write this in. We're writing this big thing. It's like a big thesis, and I realize that is not included. Okay. Early detection. Very cool. Oh, folks, hey, announcement time. Whoop, whoop. I'll sound the alarms. Announcement time. Very exciting. I'm actually very excited about this announcement. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do our improv comedy practice rehearsals on Twitch, on this channel, live. So if you are interested in watching that, let us know, because it is, I do it and I'm like, this is a form of meditation. It's a really fun, bouncy form of meditation, but it is absolutely, training the mind in a certain direction to like be spontaneous and fun and like find curiosity and like crafting the mind. And so every time we do it, I'm like, this is crazy that we don't share this, because these are some of the funniest jokes I've ever made, or like the weirdest moments, or like sort of heartwarming, whatever. And it's like, we don't share this, and we have no plan of like doing shows. So how could we, so the premise is it would be 8 p.m. 6 p.m. East Coast time on Thursdays, and we would just have our rehearsal, and folks could be here, but it would really be basically sort of what's the voyeuristic kind of view into our rehearsal with our coach and all that stuff. So it might be fun. If that's of interest, let us know. And also let me know if we've already announced this, because I'm suddenly realizing maybe people already know about this. Okay, folks, find that nice, comfortable position. And in a moment, we'll begin. Getting the body physically settled is important for maintaining posture throughout the practice. So instead of doing all our settling in once we begin, just go ahead and move the body, adjust anything you need to do that will allow the body to be still for the duration of the practice. Arranging the knees lower than the hips. Drinking some hot water out of a beaker. What if this entire channel was just me drinking water loudly into a microphone? Raquel complains about the volume of my swallowing, which I'm like, I feel like other things like chewing or whatever you could complain about, but I don't know how to swallow any quieter. Okay, so finding a nice, comfortable position, and we'll begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths and just feeling the body rise and fall. Each time we arrive at a meditation, we arrive with the momentum of all of the previous moments. And unless we can step out of the unconscious momentum, we're simply swept away, losing our conscious experience of this particular moment. But that's why we experience distraction. That's why we struggle to attend to this exact moment. So it's not a problem. It's simply an expression of nature. So not worrying about what kind of momentum or how we got here, just noticing if we can attend to the sensations, in this case, the simple rising and falling of the body. And if we can't, just knowing that, recognizing it as the momentum of previous moments. Beginning by physically relaxing the body as deeply as we can. It may feel like the body is already relaxed. But relaxing at a level that we might not even physically feel, relaxing at the level of the bone connecting with the muscle itself. Picking up on any subtle turbulence in our experience. And by turbulence, I mean the mind jittering, becoming distracted, pulling away. Again, this isn't a problem. This is just another expression of nature. And by observing it, it can't last. The unconsciousness fails under the sunlight of consciousness. And capturing an overall sense of all of the body's sensations. No sensation in particular, simply all body sensations at this particular moment. This requires us to use our awareness. This is the part of the mind that gets a general sense rather than the part that looks for details. So getting a general sense of the body, and perhaps noticing that this part of the mind is often quite gentle. It works best if we don't try to grip, gather as much data as we can, just getting a sense. And often this means we can't zoom in on any particular detail. It's more of a peripheral, overall experience of the body. And allowing this awareness to be kind, to be welcoming. This difference can be quite subtle, but it's as though the awareness itself were open to whatever it comes in contact with. Whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, whether we experience it as good or bad, this awareness simply opens and welcomes the physical experience. Noticing attributes of this part of the mind that simply knows the experience, welcomes it. Often this aspect of the mind is experienced as being very quiet. The mind might chatter along somewhere in the background, but that's a different part of the mind. may find that we can have easy contact with this awareness, or we might not. And that's actually not a problem. The reason this is not necessarily a problem is the mind is very good at showing us opposites. If all we can detect is the self, or all we have is distraction, we can simply ask, how do I feel about this experience? And notice that that gives us a tiny bit more perspective. So if we're in contact with this kind awareness, simply staying with that, that's not a problem. And if we find that we are not, we're simply agitated or distracted, we can ask our senses, ask the awareness itself, how do you feel about this experience? Not waiting for any kind of narrative answer, the mind responding with words, looking for a felt sense. And this will often give us a momentary glimpse into a bit of this awareness. It may be so brief that we don't even notice it, but we can simply ask our experience again, whatever it is, how do I feel about this? Ignoring any answer that comes in the form of language or narrative, we're looking for a physical response. The only answers we're looking for are in the form of body sensations or in the form of awareness. Effectively, we're using the way the mind can observe, can assess, and using that as a lever to get a little bit of space from an experience. Effectively holding the experience at the slightest of distances, breaking the chain of identification, if only for a tiny instant. again and again, getting this critical distance. And if we can, eventually allowing the experience, the difficulty, the challenge to float in this kind awareness. And of course, at times the mind will drift. This is not a problem, simply coming back. A great deal of our lives is spent worrying, concerned. And the system is so used to this, it simply worries in the background, thinking that this is helpful and convenient to have this program running continuously in the background looking for threats. And even if 99% of the time it comes up with nothing, the system thinks that the worrying is helpful. So without falling into any narrative or thinking about, seeing if we can come in contact, even a vague sense of the part of us that will worry. Where the blood heats up and the agitation increases. There's a sense of concern. We can simply ask the same question: how does the body and mind feel about this experience now? How is the body and mind receiving this experience? Noticing there are moments when we're pulled into the experience where it seems like I, me, the self is worried. Or I am having this experience. And there are times when we recognize that it's simply a body-mind having a natural experience. And we can detect how the body-mind is taking in that data. And letting that awareness, that more open experience, letting that be kind, welcoming. It doesn't need anything to be different. And anytime we touch into something difficult, especially if we've had a fair amount of difficulty in our lives, this can push us in an overwhelmed direction. So noticing in the background, is the system, is the body-mind subtly responding to this? With a kind of ambient fear, a concern. Perhaps tightening the body in order to protect. Gripping the mind to prepare. And again, simply allowing the system on its own to zoom out by asking, how is the body-mind receiving this experience at this moment? Effectively, we have one part of our experience that wants things to be different. That's tightening against or preparing for. And we have the kind awareness that doesn't need anything to be different. And both are natural, both are ordinary human experiences, neither is good or bad. They simply are. So noticing if there's some part of us at this moment that if it had a magic wand could change anything about our current experience, that it would. Know that that impulse is not a bad one. Simply recognizing it as part of nature. And allowing the part of us that doesn't need anything to be different, this kind awareness. This overall sensing. This kind of peripheral buoyancy, allowing this to simply know the experience. Looking for any part of us that is evaluating, how's this going? Even the part of us that is trekking forward in the experience of time, waiting for another moment. These are very subtle forms of the system assessing, looking for danger, looking for a better experience. So simply holding those and recognizing them as another expression of nature. And now we enter the most important part of this practice. This is what we've been building towards. I'm going to give you a set of details of information, and we want to watch very carefully how the system responds. So the first piece of information is that we'll end the formal meditation when the bell goes silent. Watching the mind produce a bell, produce a future moment. Simply soaking into this overall experience among all the other senses. Staying with the practice, staying in stillness, allowing a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes. Eventually allowing the eyes to rest on a single point as they fully open. And we can view this particular moment from the perspective of me, the self that is looking out at this experience, or we can check for a moment, how is the body-mind taking in this experience? And in this way, in this dance between these two, letting this particular moment be the great teacher, showing us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay, so making any adjustments you need to allow the body to be comfortable. Okay, so what was that experience like? What happened and what are you like now? An important part of meditation is talking about meditation. What happened just now? A couple ways to report. One is to report in the chat. Another way is to report... Oh, I realize I should change this so people can see the chat on the screen. Okay. One leg is very asleep. Is to report in the chat. That's one way to go. The other way is to jump into our Zoom. Which if you'd like to speak by voice, this is your best route. And that will give us an opportunity to get into the detail of some of your descriptions, what's happening in your meditation. So yeah, what was that like? What happened? What do you like now? So folks, no pressure if you prefer not to talk about your meditation, or maybe people are in a elongated typing screed. Excuse me. But yeah, tell me what that was like, and I can answer any questions you have, any challenges, or anything interesting that occurred. I want to look something up here. I saw something yesterday. I don't know if anyone is watching Avatar and the Last Airbender, but I am. Something really interesting came up in the previous episode. And let's see. There is a... It's so funny. I actually have it as a guided meditation. Let me see if this is...
You must gain balance within yourself before you can bring balance to the world.
Okay. I want to make sure folks can hear this because I want to play this. It's 10 minutes. We probably won't listen to the whole thing. Oh, and there's like 30 ad breaks. I think these are ad breaks, or maybe these are time codes. Oh, these are time codes. Okay. Let me hear if you can hear. Let me check if you can hear this. They actually have it as a guided meditation online. It's like that specific.
You must open all the chakras.
Yeah.
Surrender yourself. There are 7 chakras that go up the body. Each pool of energy has a purpose and can be blocked by a specific kind of emotional muck. Are you ready?
So a little background here. This show is a cartoon show. It has very little to do with meditation or this kind of thing. And it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty well done show. It's fun, whatever. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But there's this one section where the airbender, who's this little kid who can, is one of this sort of group of people who can bend air, can change and work with the element of air, goes to this guru who's going to help him, in this case, master what's called the avatar state. It's so funny, I realize how many layers there are here, which is this sort of very chaotic, hyper-powerful experience where you're effectively like a kind of god. But it's very dangerous because it's sort of, you become this giant being and you can like tear through mountains and stuff. So, beep up is, so there's this guided meditation, and it was very, very effective because it talks about each one of the chakras, and in terms of these different elements that the show is about, earth, wind, air, fire. And it goes through and says each one could be blocked in this particular way, and this is the tendency, etc. I've never heard a clearer description of chakras, and I'm not a big chakra person, but I thought it was so good. I thought we'd watch it here. Maybe we'll actually do a whole episode on it because it was really well done. Jean says, my right thumb started twitching rather strongly during the meditation. I was trying to figure out if it arose from something you were saying or something I did physically earlier. Well, twitches are interesting. I feel like twitches are pretty like just random. I find that like my eye will start twitching or this kind of thing. Sometimes they're just tension related, but often I feel like it's just the muscles sort of like figuring something out or recalibrating in some weird way. But see, now I'm like, oh, we're going to watch this video. And now I'm like, well, maybe we should wait. Maybe we should do a whole thing on it. I'll play a little bit of it for sure. Okay, here we go.
First, we will open the earth chakra, located at the base of the spine. It deals with survival and is blocked by fear.
So I don't know how accurate this is. I'd be curious to hear from someone how accurate this is related to the chakras. But it was very effective. I just did the meditation as the person was guiding, and it was cut up in the show from to various pieces. It was like over the course of quite some time, but it was it's interesting. So try to go along with it as it's going, and yeah.
What are you most afraid of?
Oh, I see. It gives the instruction.
You are concerned for your survival, but you must surrender those fears. Let your fears flow down the creek. opened your earth chakra.
Lovely. So anyway, the point is that it goes through these different pieces in this way, and this is effectively either a kid's or a teenager's or like an adults watching kids show. And it does a pretty good job at these. I thought this was very effective, and I kind of went through and noticed just these. It was interesting because, like, I forget what he says. The very first one is the let's see. I want the earth chakra, the earth root chakra, and what did he say? It's
first we will open the earth chakra, located at the base of the spine. It deals with survival and is blocked by fear.
So he says it's the survival chakra, and which it seems anyway. But it says and it's blocked by fear. So it's like it's interesting because I could see, oh yeah, there is part of my experience that has a fear of annihilation. Like there's part of the system that's sort of like constantly sort of managing this, and it was very lovely to let go of that and release that and recognize that was going. It's a little bit of like what we did today, and he goes through each of them and he says, I'll go to the next one and just jump in. This is the water chakra.
Next is the
water chakra?
Exactly. This chakra deals with pleasure and is blocked by guilt. Now, look at all the guilt which burdens you so.
So, there's water chakra, it's blocked by guilt, and then and it's at the, I don't think they mentioned this, but I think that chakra is very like oriented around the groin, and it's it's based on pleasure and it's blocked by guilt, and it goes through. It's very interesting. Anyway, it sort of goes through a variety of human experiences, and then says, okay, gives an opposite, which I thought was the most powerful part, and said, where is the guilt in your experience, and releasing that guilt in order to allow this part of the body to flow more freely. Anyway, I love it. I think we might do an entire episode on it, so I don't want to like sit here and go through piece by piece now and then do that again. So jumping back to people's comments, if there are any new comments, which may not be the case. It's a quiet, sleepy day. Okay, cool. So it's very sleepy today. Thank you folks so much for joining us. We're going to be back here in fewer than 48 hours. I realize that many people are traveling. It's an American holiday, so. Oh my goodness, we have a new follow here from Peanut the Dragon. What's up, Peanut? Good to see you, finally. Peanut the Dragon and I have been friends for a long time. We used to do sketches in the park together, and we were known for doing big noses and tiny little eyes, and that was our kind of thing. We did that for a long time, and I've always encouraged Peanut the Dragon to come and join the stream, and then but it's been a long time, so very glad that you're finally here. Beep pop pop is hello. So okay, we're going to be back here in fewer than 48 hours, and would love to hear from you if there's anything that you'd like to chit chat about. Oh, I thought Raquel just whispered something to me that was telling me I was wrong. We're not going to be back here, but we are going to be back here in fewer than 48 hours. So folks, I have a wish for you in this particular moment. And the wish for you is that in this exact experience you're having right now, that you can connect with that part of you that maybe is worried, concerned. What comes next? What do you do? This is often a lot of how we power our day. Concern about something that hasn't happened yet. So looking at that part of us that might be concerned and asking, how does the body-mind feel about this experience? How is it taking in? How is it processing this material? And my wish for you is simply to be able to connect with and notice that bit, that little experience. Notice that processing of the experience rather than having to be locked within it. Noticing that now. This is the best teacher we could possibly have for the rest of our day. Our current experience. And thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Nick, for the reminder of the thing I needed to tell Raquel. As always, folks, practice well, take care of each other, have fun, and we'll see you very, very soon.